There is a little bit of that New York City skyline that a lot of people, it's probably their favorite part of this show. Of course, it is a great view. Guys, welcome back from the LG Studios here in New York City. I'm Axel Tosh, joined by Axel. We're currently watching the Premier League of WCS America. Group F was yesterday. Group E is today. And we just saw, of course, Nesty take out Minigun 2-0, and which means he's going to be advancing to the winners match. And now we're going to find out who's going to play Nesty in that winners match. It's going to be either Apocalypse or Fenix.
This is going to be a very, very exciting match. And you know what's crazy? People are like, TVT, that can't be that insanely exciting. But a couple things about these two players, right? First, let's talk about Apocalypse.
Yes.
He has some weird, crazy builds.
I know, right?
That like everyone's like, what is he doing? And then like he just all of a sudden has like a weird amount of units and a weird unit combo at a weird time in the game, and the opponent's like, you're not supposed to do this. It's not fair. GG, and they lose, right?
Yes.
Because it's just the timing of it is so offbeat. He's one of these Korean Terran players who's sometimes a little overlooked, but he's done very well in some events. He hasn't won those championships like Nesty or you know like the world top Koreans, but he used to playing on IM with Nesty. He's got a lot of crazy builds, and he's a very, very solid Korean Terran.
Yeah, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, but you know, Quantic and IM, they had that QIM partnership for team leagues and stuff, and this was about a year ago. And Apocalypse did like he was really good in those team leagues. IM was using him most of the time, and Quantic took notice, like, wait a second, we want this guy. This was a time when the trend was, all right, let's start picking up those Koreans, these 400 teams. We're saying that these non-Korean teams are saying, let's get some Koreans in our lineup. Apocalypse was one of the first to actually carry over, and now he's kind of really making a name for himself, a very strong player, so look out for him in this tournament. Of course, he got to this point through the qualifier. However, our other player is going to be Fenix. He got here through an invite. He is your defending WCS Peru champion from 2012. He was the runner-up at the South American WCS Championship, getting second place to Killer. He's a very strong Terran player, very unpredictable as well. I remember casting him at the Global Finals in Shanghai, a match against Sake. You were there too, where he was going nukes and stuff. So he
took Sake out.
Yeah, I think he might have. I don't remember.
I think he took him out.
I think you're right, actually.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to take out the nukes. He's not afraid to wield that sniper rifle with the Ghost and make some fun happen.
One thing about Fenix, like you said, he's not afraid to get in his opponent's face, and he's an exceptionally aggressive Terran player. He's one of the most aggressive Terrans I've ever seen, up there with Marine King, and actually up there with Apocalypse. He's very aggressive as well.
Yeah.
This guy is so aggressive. He was one of the top non-Korean Brood War players as well, and in Brood War, he's like, TVT's not aggressive enough for me in Brood War because it's mech versus mech. I'm going to play Protoss versus Terran. And in Brood War, he didn't play Terran Mirror because he couldn't be aggressive enough in Terran Mirror and Brood War.
Oh, wow.
He actually race switched for that matchup because he loves the action. And so this is the TVT. I assure you guys, I'm very confident it's not going to be your standard TVT. Both these guys are crazy aggressive and do crazy funky strats.
Yeah, they're both trying to make a name for themselves. I feel like if we had to choose a favorite, it might be Apocalypse, considering he came from the qualifier, taking down a bunch of great players. And of course, you know, he coming from Korea, coming from that practice regiment. But Fenix, he's a member of Team IM, so he's been a part of that regiment as well. I believe he spent some time in the IM house there in Korea. But it is time for the story to unfold in match 2 of the night of Group E. It's going to be Apocalypse versus Fenix. Game 1, map 1 is going to be on Daybreak. And we haven't seen a TVT yet in the Premier League of WCS America. So I'm super excited to get this. Of course, yesterday we pretty much had exclusively TVZs, which was a lot of fun, to be honest. And we finally got a mirror matchup at the end, being a ZBZ. Again, if you missed those, check out youtube.com/official MLG SC2. But here we are in game number 1 in the top right-hand location. We have the red Terran player representing Team Incredible Miracle. He is the defending WCS Peru 2012 champion. He is Fenix. And his opponent in the bottom left-hand location. It's the red Terran player representing Team Quantic Gaming. One of the first Korean players to join a non-Korean team trying to make a statement in this round of 32 group. He is Apocalypse.
So Daybreak's an interesting map. I wonder if these two guys, knowing each other's style, Like I feel like it's not a map that really suits either one of them, but it's almost a game of chicken on who vetoes it. It's like, well, eventually no one vetoes it, just because they like being so aggressive, and Daybreak with the map distances and
Right.
the fact that there's a couple ramps that it's hard to be aggressive over, between the natural and the watchtower, and of course along the top and bottom courses of the map as well. So it's a good number of chokes here, but there's also a lot of drop avenues into the main along the bottom and top sides of the map. I think we're going to see that being used a lot. I know Fenix especially, a big fan of the drop play. We'll have to see how that comes into effect.
Yeah, there's a lot of airspace around these mineral lines. So, Hellbats have become a bit of a thing in TVT. It's not too strange nowadays to see a 10-minute game in TVT be like 30 to 20 supply or something something crazy like that, because they're both going after each other's mineral lines. So it should be really interesting to see what kind of openings these guys end up going for. I know we have a lot of Terran players watching here looking for good, solid TVT builds, maybe good, nice, aggressive builds, and we're definitely in for a treat here today, as I expect these guys are going to be going all out, trying to break each other at the knees. And we got Reaper openings, identical openings from both of them so far. Of course, the Reaper is kind of handy because, again, it can regen that health. You get that scouting information done. A nice safe opening here from both these players. The question is, how do they follow it up?
Well, Apocalypse going double Reaper.
Oh gosh, is this going to be scouted?
I actually just saw this in GSL. So it's definitely.
Oh, I think you're further than me on the VODs.
I could be. I could be.
I just finished up with PVT.
Yeah, it was in the last match
Okay,
of
I'm
the
not there
set,
yet.
match
Go
number
on.
5 of last night's group. I'm talking about, of course, in round of 16 over there.
Yep.
And
WCS Korea, of course.
Yes, WCS Korea. And so this is definitely a build we see that the world-class players mixing in the double racks Reaper. And the idea is that, like, once you hit a certain amount of Reapers, if you can pick off the first couple units, and then if you just keep picking off units, and you don't lose Reapers, eventually you have like 4 or 5 Reapers, and they have Hellions popping out one at a time, and like, yes, Hellions or whatever tech pattern you're going for theoretically beats Reapers, but not if you picked them off before they can really build up that quantity. And especially with Fenix going for the command center after this, he could be in a little bit of trouble if he can't stop the initial attack.
He didn't scout the second racks. Like, he got an SCV inside his opponent's main base, but he didn't sneak over there to the left to see that barracks. So he doesn't necessarily know that this is coming. And I'm trying to theorize what the best response would be. I mean, right now he's making a reactor on the barracks, which is like looking like it's going to be donated to the factory, which means he's pretty far away from getting another unit out of the barracks. So there might be a timing that exists, as crazy as it sounds, of like 4 Reapers here from Apocalypse jetting into his opponent's main base and getting some damage done against only 2 Reapers from Fenix.
That's the exact timing that Apocalypse is looking for. The right when you have 4 Reapers, you can kind of overwhelm your opponent. But the question is, how much damage can he get done before 2 Hellions pop out? Because once 2 Hellions pop out, the attack's over. And Fenix sees it now. This is so important, because if he didn't see it and his 2 Reapers got picked off before they could get back and get SCVs in front of him, it could have been immense amount of damage. But as long as Fenix has Reapers behind SCVs, he should only take minimal losses.
Hellions just now going to be popping out of that factory. There's a little bit more time that Apocalypse has to try to get some damage done. Hasn't got any SCV kills just yet. Taking out 1 Reaper, trying to target down an SCV, but he's going to have to get out of there. Of course, the Hellions.
Yeah,
You do not want to
great
fight
defense
Hellions
by
with Reapers.
Fenix.
Yeah, that's a great job. SCV is miraculously still alive, but his days are numbered.
That's almost one of the things a lot of people don't get. You lose less SCVs if you pull them before units die. You got to pull them early, so that there's the Reapers and the Hellions behind SCVs. And you got to maintain that damage output behind him, then you scare your opponent away, and then you don't lose any more SCVs. So it's weird. The faster you pull SCVs, the less you lose.
Sacking his Reaper.
Yeah. I mean, he got the scout up, but Fenix is in a great position. He's got faster expansion, and he's got stronger tech. But he needs to identify how Apocalypse followed up that Reaper build. I mean, normally you can assume they're going to bio.
Right, because the 2 racks opening it logically leads to that
Yes.
state.
But the 3rd barracks before factory isn't insanely common of a follow-up. So Fenix needs to identify that as heavy bio low tech.
It's Apocalypse, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not honestly not that surprised, considering that's what he does. He comes up with these crazy variations of builds, and he makes them work, or he wouldn't be here.
Oh, trying to poke at the front, sees the bunker, so Fenix knows, there's most likely an expansion back there.
I wonder if he can sneak a Reaper in the main right here.
He definitely could.
There's a Marauder there.
Yeah, I mean, well, he could definitely get up there and see what's going on, which might not be a bad idea. How valuable is that 1 Reaper?
Just seeing the sparkling on the tech lab.
Yeah, it would tell him exactly. He may wait for like a medevac. In fact, there's a medevac right there. If you can elevator some backup.
A lot of units in here from Apocalypse. You don't want to get trapped.
But if you can pick up the units before they coordinate, oh no, the Hellions have got down there.
You gotta pick up. Oh, he's keeping the Hellions there. A little bit of a mistake there from Fenix.
I didn't think he was ready for that many units. He just assumed there wouldn't be that many because if it's not Apocalypse, there wouldn't be. They'd be teching. So Fenix takes a few losses there, but now he knows what's going on. He knows Apocalypse is on a low tech route, and Fenix, I think he's going back.
Run! Ignite the afterburner. Trying to pick up those Hellions, but he's gonna let him. Yeah, a pretty interesting build here from Fenix. Like we're talking about how weird Apocalypse.
Fenix has no bunker. He's got to be
He's
careful.
got Widow Mines though.
Yeah. Oh.
Widow Mines are.
If Apocalypse, if he doesn't split up his units, they're already hurt. Being already hurt, the splash will kill all the Marines.
Oh no, I don't think it. Oh, stimming one. Wow. What a smart guy. Oh, well,
great
that one's
splits.
got a great shot. All right, we got to drop one on the natural expansion. The turret taking down the medevac. The Widow Mine going to drop though. Are these SCVs going to run? No, they're not. Only one dies though, so not the worst situation in the world. Meanwhile, we have the Marines Marauders running, sprinting toward the natural expansion. 2 Hellions, plenty of SCVs here from Fenix. He's down in supply, but he should be able to hold this off eventually. Doesn't want to lose too many SCVs though.
The Raven coming back to flank. Not super useful there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the units were too hurt. They stemmed. They wouldn't mind splash. But both players know what they're dealing with. You know, there was no bunker and not a single Marine from Fenix. So Apocalypse knows for sure his opponent's going back. And Fenix knows his opponent's going bio. Apocalypse, no one has seen another attack force out. This is where, you know, Fenix has to get that defense. The tank is halfway done. So I think he'll be okay if he positions the tank well and he doesn't lose this set of Hellions unnecessarily.
Yes, of course, tanks, you do not have to wait for siege mode anymore in Heart of the Storm, if that hasn't been apparent already. Those tanks do pop out with siege right away. So,
oh, nice Hellion play. If you can get both Marauders.
Wow. And there's just a little bit of a late stem.
Early.
Yeah, and there's no medevacs here, again, to heal up these units. The scan going down, looking for those Widow Mines. A Raven is there. She needs to sprint out of there. Oh, very low in health. Auto-turret going down. The tank is sieged up, and that should shove away this army. One Marauder, one Marine alive.
Apocalypse lost a lot of units. I mean, he forced some energy out of the Raven, but that comes back without having to pay minerals, and he just lost a good chunk of his units.
Pretty close game we have on our hands.
It is.
73 to 69 in favor of Fenix, but again, you know, Fenix going for that composition where your units are a bit more meaty. You can take those straight up engagements, whereas Apocalypse in the bio, you're never going to see a bio player try to run into a tank line, right? It's all about the flanks. It's all about really spreading out your opponent. It's all about dropping medevac, doing those medevac drops here and there. So we'll have to see where Fenix goes from here, or where Apocalypse goes from here, excuse me, as far as trying to overcome the fact that his opponent is going for such a heavy tank. Looks like Hellbat too.
You know what's really interesting about Fenix? Fenix is getting 2 upgrades. I've seen a lot of mech play from Terrans, especially in Pro League. The Pro League Terrans love this. He's getting 2 upgrades that I almost never see the mech players get. He got Blue Flame.
Yeah.
And he's getting an upgrade you almost never see, the transformation mode upgrade. So you can transform Hellions to Hellbats and back and forth.
Blue Flame is done. Hellions being dropped into the main base of Apocalypse. Fenix trying to get that damage done. The SCV's lining up a little bit, a decent amount of SCV kills here from these Blue Flame Hellions. Meanwhile, we also have a drop in the natural expansion. Fenix is everywhere trying to take down the economy of his opponent and doing a pretty solid job. 17 workers killed here for Fenix.
This is a really interesting thing. He's cutting his production. That's why he's behind in food to get these 2 upgrades. And what that means, though, in the mid game, he can do a lot of weird guerrilla harasses and transform them back to Hellbats to join his main army. Typically, most Terrans just build some Hellions for harass and then some Hellbats to join the army, saying the upgrade's too expensive. But Fenix really wants to be more flexible with his army composition.
Blue Flame Hellions versus Marines and Marauders with Stim. Oh, there's a tank going to help support here for Fenix, but Apocalypse coming forward, trying to muscle through, trying to get those tank kills, taking down one, taking down a second, and I think he's going to be okay with that trade.
He is. Hitting the tank count is so important. He's got his 3rd set up. He's trying to delay Fenix's 3rd. And this is the disadvantage of spending so much money on those Hellion upgrades this early is unit count is small. And as mech, you know, with a small unit count, it can sometimes be difficult to take a 3rd base. But what Fenix has done is he's gotten that sensor tower, and he's getting a missile turret ring in his main. It's a very dense missile turret ring. So knowing that he's pretty much totally safe from drop play with that sensor tower and the missile turret ring,
he can contribute all of his units to a different portion of the map. Of course, we see Apocalypse coming forward, trying to engage this 3rd base, trying to keep his opponent tank count low, but...
We don't mind. Oh, there we go.
There, he's going to...
Yeah.
He's got to get underneath the ground, man.
It wanted to just fight straight up.
Now, behind this, Apocalypse taking that middle base, which is a pretty interesting place to hold. Of course, he can be a little bit freer, taking more bases. He has to worry about those Blue Flame Hellion run-bys and those Blue Flame Hellion drops. So look out for Apocalypse to make sure, maybe even a bunker inside a mineral line or behind a mineral line at the very least to try to help negate that. But you do not want those Blue Flame Hellions doing too much damage to you.
Apocalypse adding in a second factory of his own. So he's definitely starting to add more and more tanks into his composition, realizing that with just pure bio, he has no ability to control space. And controlling space is such an important part of TVT. Fenix with a second sensor tower. I really like how many sensor towers he's utilizing in this matchup. It's such a key part to playing Terran versus Terran, and especially a key part to playing mech.
1-1 on the bio here for Apocalypse, of course. Oh, gotta be careful. We have a drop heading to the bottom side of the map here from Fenix. So again, showing he loves the drop play, loves spreading his units out and trying to get that damage done, trying to spread out his opponent. And it's done it again. It's done a pretty good job so far. 17 workers killed. He's bound to get at least a couple more here. We have a turret in the main, a siege tank in the main here, as well from Apocalypse. So pretty cool play here from Fenix so far.
Yeah, a nice little drop play. Remember, he can transform those into Hellbats if he so chooses. The siege tank providing a fairly good defense, though. And Apocalypse, he's going to try to break into the natural.
Oh, 3 tanks are not sieged here from Fenix. It's so important to not get caught off guard by this stuff. He might just sprint right into the main base. Fenix trying to figure out a way to deal with this massive bio army here from Apocalypse. Charging to the natural. The command center is not going to end up lifting. It should go down. Okay, there's the lift, but it is going to die. And a great move here from Apocalypse. At the same time, we have some Hellions sneaking into the third base of Apocalypse. It looks like to try to get some damage done to that economy, but it looks like most of the damage done here is going to be from Apocalypse. What a great move into the natural.
It really is. He's now on the production line of Fenix. Once you get on Terran's production line, it's so hard for him to really make that, make the units work. They pop out one by one. He is going to clean up his defense, but a lot of damage has been done.
Yeah, in the units tab, we're going to see a Fenix down to 3 tanks. And as a player going mech, that's never a situation you want to be in.
Look at the way Apocalypse is expanding to 4th base. He's expanding towards his opponent, wanting to stay on the attack, on the aggression. And also, what's important to note is TVT sometimes gets in these late game stalemates. The more minerals you can mine from the contested parts of the map, it's going to make you much better in the late game.
That's a great point. Of course, we see Fenix trying to get some counter aggression done, but
that's not going to work.
Apocalypse on it. Not going to happen.
Apocalypse playing so well this game, and if Fenix's tank count has been so hurt, it's gonna take him like at least 5 minutes before he can even think about taking the 4th base. Yeah. And staying on 3 bases this long is not where you want to be as a Terran player. Especially, I mean, he's down by so much food as well. The question is, can he defend long enough to build up that Deathball mech composition? Apocalypse could be going for a massive drop here. 4 medevacs are loaded up, but they're going to run right into the barracks to Fenix.
Oh, great positioning there from Fenix. But the question is, can he prepare in time? Is there anything he can do about that? Because at this point, Apocalypse, he's going to make any trade he can because he has the resources. He has the bank to do so, dropping straight into his opponent's main base, dropping all his Marines and Marauders. They need to get to work. There they go, starting to attack the base there of Fenix. Meanwhile, Apocalypse is going to be charging into the 3rd base of his opponent, trying to spread Fenix apart. This is the disadvantage of going mech. You gotta be able to, it's hard to spread out these tanks and defend all of these locations, and we're seeing Apocalypse doing a great job taking advantage of that fact.
Fenix defense is served pretty well to help with some SCVs, and drop is cleaned up as well. I feel he actually did very well for what he had. I mean, the drop's still going on into the natural, but that could have been a death blow, and Fenix isn't quite dead yet.
40 workers killed here from Apocalypse. Fenix down to 36 on the Harvesters, and that's a huge deal, especially when Apocalypse is going up to 5 bases, dropping mules on that 4th base at the bottom. Again, he loves these trades because he can be more, he can throw away units more safely because he has the resources to back it up. He can do this all day long if he wants to. He knows his opponent's on 3 bases. He knows his opponent is economically crippled, and he knows that every unit is going to be so much more important for Fenix than it is going to be for Apocalypse.
Sieging up the natural, being so cost efficient, the tanks from the bottom being massacred. Fenix is cleaning this up, but he just lost so many of his ever so important siege tanks trying to clean that up. And Apocalypse, his economy is so strong. Yeah. Like you mentioned, he can afford these trades. As long as he's killing something, that's something that's so much harder for Fenix to replace than it is for Apocalypse. Now he's going to move on to this 3rd base. somehow Fenix still has some units. He keeps pulling them out of somewhere, man. I don't know what's going on here, but he just refuses to lie down and die, and Apocalypse keeps throwing stuff at him. But
he still has 10 tanks.
Yeah, how does he still have 10 tanks?
I'm not so sure. I think a lot of the tanks he sent into the main base, and the bile from Apocalypse was killing buildings and stuff, and SCVs, and not necessarily taking down the tanks.
Oh, but the third is only... Oh, but he's reinforcing it. 4 tanks transforming the Hellions into Hellbat mode. They're going to help out a lot more for the defense, but they're too far back.
Coming forward with the Marines and Mirage, trying to spread them out to minimize the splash damage of those tanks. A few tanks are also unsieged. Apocalypse trying to take this win right here, right now. He's up 188 to 63 in supply, and there's the GG from Fenix. Apocalypse takes game number 1, and that was a very entertaining game indeed. You know, both players doing a little bit wonky strategies. Of course, we saw, you know, the 4 Reaper opening there from Apocalypse. We saw an early Raven come out from Fenix, and, you know, Apocalypse going bio, Fenix going mech, and Apocalypse just showing how strong correctly controlled bio units can be against a mech competition.
They really can. You know, bio versus mecha, it's so much about trying to find a weakness in the mech line.
Yeah.
And he found it at that one point when he struck straight the natural, and Fenix wasn't ready, and he just came right into natural, got the production on. Even though Fenix eventually defended, when a Terran gets onto the opponent's production facilities, they're so cost efficient because every unit that pops out dies instantly.
Yes.
And that's all a unit that you would normally have to fight in a battle when it's with its buddies and they're all shooting together. But you know, if it's not part of a battle, it's just a free kill, and too many free kills puts the opponent too far ahead. Not to mention, I think he got the command center there as well.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, this was such an instrumental part of the game. You can't let this happen
No.
as a mech player. Either A, you've got to have the tanks sieged up there, so that's not even possible, or have control of that watchtower, of the middle area of the map. So, great game there from Apocalypse, able to take the 1-0 advantage, and I think we're just going to go straight into game number 2. It's going to be on Cloud Kingdom here between Fenix and Apocalypse. Kind of a must-win situation here for Fenix. He must win 2 in a row, or he's going to drop to the loser bracket. So again, a reminder of the format, guys. It is essentially double elimination. So even if you lose, you still have a chance to advance from your group. But it looks like game 2 is ready. Again, it's going to be on Cloud Kingdom, and we're going to get into it fairly soon. Of course,
oh,
I guess
maybe?
we
Are we gonna?
I guess we're...
Yep. Okay. So never mind. We're gonna regame. It was, I think, set up incorrectly.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a great little timing against the mech. We'll try to get the next game set up. We'll be right with it after a short commercial break.